busy. People, sit the body down easy.
Well, thanks for the goodie, but you know what? Here's after
What's going on?
Something's blocking the vents in the coolant room.
It's getting hot. What kind of dodo do we have working in there?
That area is off limits to all but qualified personnel.
The temperature is rising.
I'll open the door.
Careful.
Peekaboo! I see you.
Oh, no.
Hi, peekaboo!
I still see you.
Silly good boy.
They're everywhere.
Pee-pee-po-po people.
Disappointing.
Stop talking to her.
She's exceedingly friendly.
Conquer, Goldick.
I'm interested in hearing what she has to
She's
say.
blocking the vents. Get her out of there.
Your people.
That's
Oh, feel tingly.
Back to work. Are there any others?
All clear.
Okay. What do the dials say?
Normal. Stability returns.
Back the way it should. Oh, this day never ends.
Relief is in sight.
Indubitably. Say, Golnick,
Yes?
we have to do something about those dodos. It's getting so I do not walk a block without bumping into one of them.
They're harmless.
Yeah, but I can't get rid of them. They rub up against me. They follow me home. The only way to end the encounter is to bash out their brains.
It seems quite stressful.
And I barely dent the population.
Is this how you pass your evening, sir?
I'm a single man, Golnick, with a dull job. What am I supposed to do when I keep running into these dodos after hours?
Have you tried exercising?
They are my exercise.
Then it's an exercise in frustration.
They don't resist. They refuse to fly. Have you thought about that? Why such an animal exists is beyond me.
There was a time when the dodo was threatening extinction.
No.
It is through that threat and how civilization overcame it that we arrive at an important lesson.
It is years since I graduated, Golnick. Remind me, what is the lesson of the dodo?
I'll tell you tomorrow. I will learn tonight in my zoology class.
Ah, night student, eh? Hey, good going, Goldick. Hey, would it upset the boat if I sat in?
Well, people come and go as they please, but I know your habits, and they have a strict policy. Promise, no smoking.
All right. I suppose it's worth foregoing cigarettes to learn about the animal I keep exterminating.
See how our chat has passed the time? Our relief team approaches.
Yes.
Shall we go?
Yes. Let's better ourselves.
Oh my, so many memories, so many things. One thing that stands out the most is your hair. It was always so soft. I could run my fingers through it, and it felt like touching a baby's head, so soft. And the smirk on your face. You always made me painfully aware of the fact that you knew at all times exactly what I was thinking. You were damn proud of the fact that you could get inside my head, weren't you? Did you even know that you did awful things to me? Were you even aware of the damage? Or did you conveniently allow that to casually walk right by you? You broke me in half. Oh yeah, you did this and more. The worst part of all this is that I would give anything to get a piece of you back. I said I wasn't going to do this. I know. I promised you I wasn't going to dredge this up. I'm sorry. The truth is, despite everything, I am proud of you. The work you did for the dodo was wonderful. You made me very proud. Well, I have to get going. The lecture is starting soon.
Welcome, class. As promised, tonight's lecture is a lesson in love. A love that stops short of devouring, that lets live and leaves alive its beloved. A love that is willing to step back, make room, and duck as its loved one proliferates. Speaking, of course, about the love personified by the great African explorer, Zefero. Dodo walks into and his love for what was then thought to be the last dodo. Please help me welcome a woman who has flown here to attend my lecture, the daughter of that great man. Please help me welcome Dr. Marianne Zefero.
Good evening, students and faculty of Chernobyl U. Here in the vicinity of an environmental calamity, we are ever more sensitive to the threat of extinction caused by human short-sightedness. As I am the daughter of an exceedingly short-sighted man, I oversee all lectures touching upon his achievements. So when I heard you were teaching the lesson of the dodo, I rushed right over. Please proceed.
Thank you. The lesson of the dodo is threefold. First, every loved thing is a center of a paradise. Second, one lives but the time in which one loves. Third, and these are the direct quotes from the inner wrappings of bocce chocolates, all love is preceded by a kiss. These are very tasty. Thank you, Marianne.
Just a little something I picked up at the New York airport.
Excuse me, there is no smoking in this classroom. Petrov, I told you.
This is my time, Golnick. I'll smoke if I want to.
And you shall not stay.
If I don't smoke, I'll fall asleep and I'll miss the lesson.
She told you one lives, but the time in which one loves.
There's got to be more to it than that.
Of course, there is more to it than that. If that cigarette has been extinguished, thank you. I shall continue. The first dodo to set foot on civilized soil arrived in North America on December 22nd, 1919. Thomas Woodrow Wilson was then president of the 47 states of America. Travel guide Hornaday Fielding was then authoring tales of big game hunting. Those were the days when hunting meant an 11-month safari across East Africa, collecting animals and escaping charging rhinos. When the great white hunter was free to shoot out of the country game, often accompanied and financed by rich clients with months to spare. I met my mother's son within a garden. His time was overdone. He traveled far. I love the city sky. He loves fresh air. He's like a
We've shopped all day, doing damage, as they say.
Oh, Mother, why does he go to Africa?
He could go north like Robert Perry's, or south like Lowell Almondson's, but instead he goes east to Africa like his brother Maximilian.
Will he stay home now?
He's an explorer. Such men never rest. They must accept that. The men at the bar have cameras. Smile and look awake when he greets us.
Mother, the woman at the piano, she's been there all night.
I know.
Will she ever stop?
Not without interruption. New York Life Insurance chose this hotel to host its 75th anniversary. As she is likely a young wife to one of its employees, she gives voice to the yearnings of the recently circumcised. When he was gone, and now he's back again. Now we have fun. You were so good, now I'm mine. Then I just can't get you out. I scream and shout, and when you told me that I was so lonely, I loved you.
Here comes Mary.
Don't worry, dear, she'll stop.
Mary, how you've grown. And what are those medals on your jacket?
I'm training to be a campfire girl, Daddy.
Many a time I was lost in the jungle when a campfire girl came to my aid.
Father, will you go back to being a jeweler? My friends at school were asking. They loved you as a jeweler, Father.
I'm an African explorer now, like our hero Teddy Roosevelt.
And like your brother, Maximilian.
He's gone now, Jerry. I respect his memory.
So tell us, Harry, is it true? Did you discover the legendary dodo bird?
No.
No.
No, I found Tomas and he found the dodo.
Stout Scotch whiskey, please.
Make that too.
Scotch whiskey?
Jerry, Marianne,
Thank you.
meet Tomas Zemeckis, my guide.
How do you do? How do you do? Well, splendid, Harry. We made it.
Yes, it was a challenge.
Good thing the captain steered us clear of those U-boats.
Gentlemen, the war is over. And they needed you, Harry. They raised the draft age to 45.
Madness had to stop.
Cheers.
What does it look like, the dodo? All I have is a picture from Alice in Wonderland.
It's enormous. With the beak of a flamingo on the body of a pelican, it is quite hysterical. I must go.
You just got here.
Shall I join you?
Tomas, you stay here with Jerry and Marianne.
Very well. Your peers are calling.
Gentlemen, I have no words until the dodo is safely within the Museum of Natural History. Tomas, meet me there tomorrow morning at 10. Jerry, please understand. Tomas will help you feel love in a way that I no longer can.
Were you Christmas shopping?
We're modern thinkers. We don't celebrate Christmas. But go shopping, yes we did.
Please, show me some of the beautiful things you must have bought.
They are here for your rummaging pleasure. While you go through our things, let me ask you this. Why are you here instead of Harry?
Well, taming the dodo has proved to be quite a challenge for him, I'm afraid. I imagine this would have been wonderful.
We think so. Aside from your dark and smarty appearance, your manner seems British. You from South Africa?
I was born there, though my ancestors are Portuguese.
Is South Africa where you found the dodo?
No. At a 20-degree latitude above the equator, there exists a thin strip of land bordered on all sides by the Nile. When it became clear that all the dodos were going to be destroyed, my grandfather moved a few of them there. That oasis became their new home.
An island on the Nile?
Yes. Thanks to my grandfather, the dodo found a refuge there. Upon his death, he passed this information on to me, and that's how I knew where to find it. Unfortunately, the force of the river current is increasing, so that the island is washing away.
Too bad for the Dodo. We're turning in. Does Harry expect you to stay with us?
I suppose I could get my own room.
Harry didn't make arrangements for you? Well, we have a suite. Marianne can sleep with me, you can sleep in her room, and if Harry comes back, well, he shall sleep in the living room.
All right.
Marianne, how did you, as the daughter of this great man, without whom the Dodo would be no less mythic than the Griffin, feel on that night when he left you?
I was crushed. My father chose his work and I missed him terribly. In retrospect, I consider what sudden wealth does to a man.
It is 7 years since his last letter, Harry. Your brother is dead. It is time to review his assets.
Yes, well, first tell me about his Explorers Club membership.
They have a clubhouse in Kips Bay, and they hold their general meeting the second Wednesday of every month at the Museum of Natural History. That's tonight, 7 p.m. It is very soon.
I will attend.
Do so in your brother's stead.
After receiving his inheritance, father's priorities underwent a drastic change.
I am a gentleman. My colleagues are vice presidents, senior counsels, and directors of corporate finance at Goldman Sachs. I no longer need to peddle in the pebble droppings of my late brother.
You're closing the jewelry store?
And why not? Our finances are secure. Yours too, dear. You can have anything you want.
But how can you be counted among the explorers when you're not even working?
They don't work much. Every meeting is a formal affair. Crisp white shirts, linen suits, safari-ready wardrobes. I must get these accessories.
What happens at these meetings?
Last night, Vern Castle brought back a rhino head and some elephant tusks for his Steinway piano. Raymond Beard named a rare plant. And Herbert Klausner introduced a monkey to the members.
A monkey?
Yes, the monkeys and we are alike in many ways. Our bones and internal organs are identical. It is only our brains that weigh more.
I'd like to meet a monkey.
Yes, but unfortunately women are not allowed.
I realize that.
Yeah, they should change that. Anyway, the technical talk is the best part of the meetings. Max was right when he warned me just minutes before his disappearance. He said, "Harry, don't let them pressure you."
Why did he say that?
Well, the membership is very exclusive. You are my only connection to the good families of Manhattan, so in order to be counted among them, I must go away for a time and discover something.
I anticipated this. When will you leave?
Tonight.
We recognize our new member, Harry Zefero.
Gentlemen, if you sponsor my trip, I will bring you back something to knock your socks off.
What will you find?
Something important that will demand respect.
Your brother was a big game hunter who brought back fragments of ancient temples and the remains of wild animals.
I shall do better.
And if you had half his money, you wouldn't need our sponsorship.
I have all his money, and I offer you a stake in my success.
The truth is, Harry, we're all sons of members here. You were the only one who became one by virtue of being the brother of a member, and we feel that this makes you different.
My brother disappeared under suspicious circumstances and left behind no children. I don't see why that should make me different.
I move that we let Harry distinguish himself through his accomplishments.
Harry, take a moment to read this passage from Wood's Illustrated Natural History, published in 1882.
This is a book for young people.
I was young when my father gave it to me.
But the dodo, this singular bird, which was supposed to be extinct, was discovered in the Mauritius by the earlier voyagers. For many years, their accounts of the dodo were supposed to be mere flights of fancy. Lately, however, the discovery of several relics of the bird has set the question of its existence at rest, but not the question of the proper position of the bird. Some think it belongs to the pigeons, some to the ostriches. The representation of it is that of a globular-shaped bird of melancholy visage, perfectly naked with the exception of 3 separate feathers on the tail and a few feathers on the wings. The expression of lugubrious wisdom on its countenance is irresistibly ludicrous. What an aberration!
And what fine read-on, please.
It is still within the range of possibility that the bird may again be discovered, as at present but little of Madagascar has been searched, and in that island, if anywhere, it will be found.
We grew up with this book, Harry, and for over 30 years, the explorers have searched for the legendary dodo bird. If you find it, we will look upon you not as the brother of a member, but as the son of a member.
And thus shall you take your place among us. Do it, Harry, as a sort of rite of passage.
With that, Harry Zefero set off to change his position. 2 years later, December 22nd, 1919, the next day, at the Great Auditorium at the Museum of Natural History, Harry Zefero stood before the members of the Explorers Club, awaiting his opportunity to show them what he, with the help of Thomas the Method, had found.
Good morning.
Good morning. We missed you last night. How did it go with Dodo?
While I'm in progress, her mood remains laid back. You know, I've stunned them by finding their childhood fantasy, and really, I couldn't have done it without you.
Oh, I know, Harry, and I'm grateful for your subsidies.
The Explorers Club takes care of old business for the first part of the meeting, during which you can wait behind the curtain and brief the Dodo on who she is and how I'm describing her. After that, you can move her from her mechanical cage into her mechanical egg, out of which she will arise when the curtain opens.
Okay, Harry.
The first order of business is the minutes of our last meeting, Secretary.
Last month, Raymond introduced a wild butterfly thought to have been extinct for over a century. Tell us, Raymond, what is the status of this creature?
It died.
Oh, yes, we've heard something like that. Well, on to other matters. How many reservations do we have for this year's elephant dinner?
License, can you hear me? Are you sleeping? Listen if you can. The dodo bird belongs to the order Columbidae. It has a massive clumsy body and small wings of no use for flight. It is a strange fowl which my ancestors called by the Portuguese dodo, a simpleton, a silly fool, and you were found on a thin strip of land in the middle of the Nile called by the Irish Wacky Island, it being comprised of black and sandstone.
Good work. Let's dispense with the treasurer's report. It's pretty clear that this year's membership dues are going to Harry Zefero. Harry, we're very interested in this discovery of yours. Your brother only brought back the remains of wild.
This one's wild, all right, but he's alive.
Is Wacky Land the name that you have given to the island in the East Indian Ocean, east of Madagascar?
No, that's Mauritius. The Dodars have long since abandoned it, just as their relatives, the solitaires, have long since abandoned the island of Reunion. No, we went quite a distance north. We kayaked up the Blue Nile to the Nubian desert, where we came upon the jagged edges of a river archipelago, its deeps revealed as variously sized strips of land in the middle of the desert. Well, at Tomas's behest, we landed upon a craggy shoreline, and there, we found an oasis in the middle of the Nile, a block of land just simply teeming with unusual species. Yes, colleagues, it was a wacky land, and my dodo bird was the wackiest thing on it.
How did you get it here?
Bromide. During the ocean crossing, she was anesthetized and stored within the confines of an egg, very much like the one she was hatched from when she was first born. This was Tomas's idea, and a brilliant one. The Dodo has a sense of humor, and she was never so funny as when she popped out a crate and continued whatever mid-sentence she had begun when we put her in there. Tomas is backstage now, preparing the Dodo. With your permission, I will ask him to join us. Tomas, come out.
Fine people like me, you're absent, that's my name, yes sir. Hey, where is everybody?
Come on, let's take the noise back there.
West, get back in that egg. What? The egg is broken? Hatched? No, too soon. Go back, stay in there. Wait until you are incubated. You're still germinating.
You want me to go in that egg?
Yes, then we'll fill it with fluid and you can float around, just like before you were born.
Okay.
And don't come out until you hear me make this sound.
Okay.
To beckon out the legendary dodo bird, I call upon our elected officials to don Polynesian grass skirts and dance. At the height of your gyrations, gentlemen, Tomas will clap twice, and the egg will break.
Excuse me, Harry, that is quite out of the question.
Ready, of course. We will dispense with that prelude.
I think, Harry, by all means, bring on the Dodo.
Colleagues, I present to you the last dodo in Wacky Land. Wacky Land. Stop it, let me through. She's suffering from hysteria. You'd be hysterical too, confronted with the threat of extinction. Stop it, please, stop it. It's only I who can come and cure her. Oh, my, are you all right?
Do something! She's wrecking everything!
Eventually, the dodo will attain a level of maturity where silent docility and melancholy subservience will be the order of the day. Until then, though, her mood remains labile. She is still a child and has yet to realize that she cannot fly. Incredibly, neither can she swim. Dodo has to be in the water. They believe to be the spiritual fit. Excuse me, I'm the tenth of Dodo. To ask questions.
Questions?
You know, you made quite a mess out there.
Harry, I'll make it up to you.
Good. Don't talk so much when you see my friends, all right?
I'll be just as exotic as you want me to be.
You are.
But I won't be overwhelmed.
I knew I could count on you.
Harry, remember, I have an appointment to keep with my elders. I must go back, so my parents can make me civilized.
I'll get you back.
We're pretty far away, aren't we? And I must devote my attention to you.
Good.
Harry, I want you to relax. I'll help you change colors. We'll meet the chips. Kick up a storm. We're all rainbow excited. Over the I love having overflow. I'll help you change outfits. We'll meet the dust. We go out at night. It's a positive excited. While we're waiting, a young caballero should take a shot.
their predators, the Dodo was able to survive there, eating the fruit that fell off the trees.
People are suggesting this is not a dodo at all. It's a mutilated and decorated pelican. Big brain, heavy bone. It doesn't even look like a bird.
That's the Dodo. Larry, go back me up on this. There is a Dodo skeleton upstairs, is there not?
Yes.
I'm advised killing this would have confirmed. Only by feeling the skeletons you will be able to see that they are one and the same. Follow me, gentlemen.
Oh, my ass is stuffed up. It's true. Well, I'll be on there.
Charlatan, it's a goose, a Hawaiian nene.
I heard that.
Harry, what the hell are you wearing?
Indulge me. It is part of the indoctrination process. If you think she's a goose, then how did she get to Africa? She is the dodo. I call upon you colleagues to help with the preservation of dodos in Wacky Land. The river current is increasing. The island is washing away.
Demented, hysterical, she nearly destroyed the podium.
As of late, she has been unable to go out due to inappropriate displays of joy and affectionate behavior. She needs a nestling.
How can she be nesting?
I do what I can to help her conceive, and my reward is incalculable. Such that even after she conceives, I will continue with my efforts to fertilize her. The nene, for example, or perhaps we can arrange she
She's a mere maiden. A chick too young to conceive. Her grandmother gave her to you prior to her first menses.
Tomas, let's talk about this in private. Let this presentation sound the call. Save the dodo. Thank you. See you next time.
There is something attractive about that bird.
Was it her globular shape?
Her melancholy visage.
I was stricken to see her perfectly naked, with the exception of 3 separate tails and a few feathers on her wings.
Yes. The expression of lugubrious wisdom on the countenance was irresistibly ludicrous.
I am glad Harry found her.
I too. Let's invite her back. Meeting adjourned.
It went well, Harry.
Yes. Yet somehow I feel a fatigue.
Well, you haven't slept for 2 days. I advise you to get some rest. Harry, look. Here's a letter. Hope your presentation went well. We're out shopping at the Mussolini boutique. Meet us there if you'd like.
You go ahead, Tomas. I'm gonna nap.
Right?
A kiss?
Yes.
Oh, your kisses are like wildfire, sending me back to our last days in Wacky Land. How I loved when you, Tomas, and I shared the golden rays of the bouncy evening sun. Another kiss?
Yes.
But then, they came for you. The beating of the tree trunks placed tightly over the taut skin, covering my brain. What is happening? Why do our friends flock around us?
They're preparing their young for the molting stage.
Harry, can we see each other tomorrow?
I cannot let you leave me. I'm lonely.
Okay.
Look at her. She's going away anyway. What are we going to do with this bird? She's so damn wacky.
If only she would see the wisdom in returning with us. Have you tried the talking cure? the latest thing. A cathodic method of Sigmund Freud and Joseph Breuer, pounded in the study of hysteria. The symptoms are present: choking sensation in the throat, pains in the abdomen, paleness, paralysis.
I myself feel those things at the thought of leaving without her. Tell me more, Tomas. Get our minds off the pounding of those drums.
Freud posits a psychological rather than a physical cause for certain illnesses, applying the talking cure in lieu of, say, nasal or genital surgery. This is where the crossover occurs. The Dodos, with their big brains in an effort to become civilized, have developed a form of genital surgery.
I don't understand.
Well, suffice it to say that in your efforts to get her out of here, I'm behind you 100%.
Then we're united in our purpose.
Yes! Let's go to the ceremony.
Oh, well.
This way.
What goes on here?
It's a sort of a cockfight, where the males battle to bite off each other's genitals.
Why?
It would seem strange that a civilization trying to avoid extinction would do that. However, while agreeable with visitors, they are quite strict with one another. By engaging in a game of castration, they only assure that the strongest among them breed.
We must get her away from here.
Here she comes now. Try the talking cure. Wait, I have a better idea. Observe how suggestible she is. My essence, wait. There's so much I need to tell you. Shall we tell you now, or shall I wait until later?
What?
There's an excitement in the air anticipating your departure from this place. We will leave here, and then I will tell you.
Now, tell me now. Now, tell me now.
Tell you when we're at home, there are people.
Now, tell me now.
Wait till we're alone. For the times are hard for the folks outside, and they struggle just to survive. And they'll want us where we came
Now,
from.
tell me now.
Wait till we're alone.
Tell me now, tell me now.
Wait till we're alone. If we ever want to move to make you less glib, we'll reveal the address to where you once lived. Please forgive me, no offense is taken here. We prefer it when you vent your worst fear. Then if I have the need to know what's inside you, I can spread it around till you surround me. Take me now. Kill you when we're alone. There are people.
Now, kill me now.
Kill you when we're home.
Kill me now, kill me now.
Wait till we're alone.
Kill me now, kill me now.
Do you see how vulnerable she is? How susceptible she is to death in the hands of her oppressors. This is why they nearly became extinct. Okay, go ahead.
My essence.
Huh?
Wait, before you go to the game, talk to me.
Okay.
You're a nice looking bird. Are you a yard bird?
No. I am Tomas Toto.
Exactly. My discovery of you is something to bring back to my friends at the Explorers Club.
I have to return by mating season.
I'll get you back.
What's the Explorers Club?
Oh, it's a meeting ground for gentlemen adventurers discovering places, plants, and butterflies. But this will show them what a discovery I have made. You know, I'm just beginning to realize what a remarkable thing is happening here. Your speech. Tomas, how do you explain her capacity for learning our language, her being a dodo and all?
Well, it seems that the Dodos have developed rather large brains to counterbalance their big asses.
Frankly, now that I've developed this brain, I don't know what to do with it.
We'll think of something.
But you really understand me.
Just keep speaking and I'll understand you.
Just keep repeating everything I say.
I will repeat everything you say.
But don't parrot me.
Oh.
Now, come, we must go.
Harry, I have to be back here very soon.
My essence. By choosing you, I isolate you. They will perceive you as being contaminated by Tomas and me, and they will destroy you after we've gone.
I assure you of the opposite.
You shan't stay here. We're taking you to America, where people will appreciate your training and teach you more than you've ever dreamed. And you shall enchant them with your raging hormones. Come, let me show you what the real world is like. Tomas, help me create a diversion. Yes.
freedom. I sing for another song being born. Travel over the clouds, no more chains in the sky, no more chains in the sky. Run, you gotta have freedom. I sing for another song, bing bong, ring for another long bing bong. Girl, do you ever tell them goodbye? To another island we'll fly. We can travel over the clouds, and the chains will fall away.
They spotted us! Hurry! Board the kayak!
Whee!
This way! Francis, you must not be afraid.
This way!
Come, my essence, you must
They're
not
not
be
too far
afraid.
behind. There! Ah! Right! We mustn't dilly-dally. Thank you. Good Lord. Here we go. There we are. Now, look.
Okay.
They're behind us.
We made it. Look at them flapping their wings on the island's edge.
Yes, witness nature's injury at framing so massive a bird's body with such useless wings.
Look, one of them has gathered the courage to swim.
All right, water spirits, do your work.
Hooray!
Harry, look at the river. Their island is washing away. We can't just leave them there. We have to go back.
You'll like your new home. Tomas, pass the bromide.
Yeah, quite.
Well, the man I'm with thinks he has tamed me. I intend to preserve my primitive insanity. I can bring Harry over to my way of thinking. I'm on a mission, which is to save my people from extinction.
Oh, delightful. We would be so grateful if you would permit us to photograph you in some of these outfits within our boutique.
Hello.
Hello, Harry. Let's make this quick. I'm collecting your daughter from grade school.
Don't rush me, Tomas. I called you here to review the words of the Dodo, what they mean and what myths run her life.
Yes.
Only then will we crack the riddle of her dementia and save her from her self-destructive desire to go home. It'll be disaster if she does after we've isolated her from them. They'll bite off her head, they'll grab her throat and nibble it, and what are those marks on your neck?
I'm sorry, Harry. I meant to wear a higher collar.
Are they hickeys?
Yes.
My family likes you, Tomas.
They love me.
I'm glad they do.
In fact, they expect me.
Oh, I'm keeping you.
Well, I'm here now. Go ahead.
Do you miss Africa?
No. New York is the best. What about the Dodo, her words, her myths? How can we help her?
By finding the code to neutralize her hysteria.
And you have that opportunity?
Yes, that's why I scrutinize and examine.
After finding a cure, we can help the others.
She's happy, too happy, giggling all the time and inappropriately at times. Yet, as I inspect her reproductive area, she stirs my generative impulse.
People should have never killed a bird for being so friendly. Amiability is never a reason to kill. But we will help her.
Tomas, I have lost credibility by sleeping with the Dodo.
Well, fucking the mystery before arriving at the solution only deepens the mystery, mate.
And I even pay her for it.
That's not professional.
She's just not as fascinated by me as I am by her. What's so fascinating about
Well,
me?
have you ever thought of surrendering yourself to your captors and letting them examine you?
No one wants to examine me.
Satisfaction can stop our desire to examine the world around us.
Satisfaction does not stop my desire to examine the Dodo. Look, she's expecting me. You've got to go, and so do I.
All right.
Lie down with me. It's good for you. You should.
Give me something first.
I watch you, my partner. I'm out here certain to catch your shadow. You leave me in twilight. I left to bury myself inside you, and here we are. It feels like home. Be patient, be stable, be there when opposites attract again. And one day soon I'll find you back again to catch the precious drop of what's unique to us. I have the hidden spark. I only hide it while you provide it. Last night I lost patience. Sometimes I think we will not be meeting. Too busy, too taken. Our pride and honor are self-defeating. I love you it's only worse. Be certain, be stable. Our life's a parallel but never cross. Realize that it's lost. I want a happy heart. Our timing never comes. I'll make another start. I'm gonna find you through the attractive storm. I'm out here certain to catch your shadow. I left to bury myself down, and here we are. It feels like home. A thousand cars. We're in the center of the attractive storm.
Why, Harry? Why have you summoned me? And why, when we meet, must we hide from the noonday sun?
Have you seen the paper? The Dodo is nesting.
What causes the last dodo to conceive?
I called you here in advance of the publicity to tell you that I think it is very likely that the egg the Dodo is carrying is mine. I want you to understand that although it seems impossible, there is magnetism between the dodo and me. Why else would I be so aroused by the oil secreted by the gland beneath her eurypygium, the fleshy posterior end supporting her tail? Why is my flesh so irresistibly drawn to her cloaca, her all-purpose chute?
Why don't you call her by her proper name? You are involved with a woman named Mussolini, and you're unable to take control of your corporal identity.
You've been listening to her speeches.
She's become quite the spokesperson or spokesbird or whatever she's supposed to be. Let me see your paper. Here it is. Take control of your corporal identity. Modify, circumcise, decorate, and adorn the instruments through which our multitude of nations shall be produced. It's fascinating stuff, Harry. She's speaking tonight at the Great Hall in Cooper Union.
Friends of the dodo, help me welcome the great advocate of the dodo fight, my essence, Miss Looney. Please give her the benefit of your full attention.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, I'm pregnant. Thank you. However, Harry Zefero, the man who brought me to this faraway land, is misinformed. Harry is mistaken. I do not carry his egg, or the egg of the nane, or the well-headed stork, nor of any foreign bird. No, I carry the egg of my people. To me, they are people. To you, perhaps they are vestiges of a species believed to have been dead for centuries. We are not extinct, nor shall we become extinct. I will hear no more. These are my people, and I need you to help us. Help us to help them. Their island is washing away.
They are a society that will peck out your pleasure dome and stitch you shut.
Yes, I don't suppose I understand why they do that.
So that your mate has something to open when it comes time to unwrap you. It's to prevent you from taking any pleasure in the act of procreation. It's to restrain you, to limit your potential.
At that moment, I should be available to only one dodo.
Your tribal devotion only makes you more attractive to me.
She is not a dodo.
You hear my wife? Some doubt the existence of the dodo even after seeing it with their own eyes.
Harry, have you ever seen a dodo? Mussolini, exotic though she may be, is a human being like us, and as such is incapable of laying eggs. She is masquerading as the legendary dodo bird, of which she would be the first and last, and hence a novelty to be treasured for its rarity. But she is not rare. In fact, she's not even legally admitted into this country. Dear God, Harry, does your child need to see you like this? That beast is turning my husband into her love slave.
You're going back?
Yes, and I want to take all your money.
All right.
It's for a worthy cause, our survival. All we ask is for protection from our predators. We'll take it from there. Now talk to me. What do you want to do?
I want to lie down with you.
Barring that.
That's it.
I'm sorry, sir, no.
Why not?
She cannot.
She will not.
And why not?
A blackbird came and pecked out her eyes. A blackbird came and pecked out her eyes. A blackbird came and pecked out her eyes.
That's not true. Lie with me. After all you've seen of the world, do you still want to go back?
I must.
Those birds will mutilate you. You'll unlearn everything you've learned here.
We stand or fall on our principles, and thanks to you, we survive.
I took you away from them. Consider yourself lucky.
You stole me. I belong to them. I'm going back. Do you understand, Harry? We are a developing civilization. We have no time for distractions, so we cut off each other's nictitating membrane, the third eyelid drawn over the eye to clean it. This neutralizes the seductions of art. Then we pop each other's eardrum. This neutralizes the seductions of music. Then we peck at each other's genitalia. This neutralizes the powers of the flesh, dulling physicality and promoting spirituality. We are the eternal species with a never-ending past. We are a foreign species. How can you be intimate with us?
This cutting signifies that you have now been born again,
Not as the daughter of an individual,
but of the whole tribe.
I await my rebirth upon my return. Until then, I remain very truly your essence, Mussolini.
Look, if I can't go into your womb, could I at least go into your egg?
There's nothing for you here. Gone? You bastard. See what happens when you don't fuck.
Thanks for inviting me down here, Harry, on the off chance that I might want to have a drink. I put Marianne to bed and I am ready for a bit of an aperitif. Although I have to admit that I'm in a bit of a rush. Your wife is in our bedroom where she awaits me.
My essence has lost interest in me, and I have yet to discover her secret. How to find it? Surveillance seems the only answer.
Well, I'd advise you to keep your work unburdened by personal complexities, but that's for your next discovery. My essence will be speaking at the museum tomorrow at noon. After that, she's leaving.
Oh, no.
Look, you're always welcome to stay with us.
Why are you surprised that I came here at your request?
Knowing who you are, I suppose I shouldn't be. You look great, by the way. Harry is over there talking with Tomas.
He doesn't see me.
No, I suppose he can't. Well, in the midst of my family's upheaval, much of which centers around you, I find myself compelled to confront you about a more global controversy that you defend in your speeches. The more I read about the practice of the Dodos, the more I understand the reason why it so offends us here in America. You can return to your tribe, save them, relocate them, buy their protection from predators, but you must also enlighten them.
What do you mean?
One of the reasons you are going back is to be embraced by the tribe. I understand that from your speeches. However, you are also to be their victim in a dangerous ritual. We eat poultry all the time, and I would never confront a chicken or a capon this way, because there's no capacity for understanding between us. Yet with you, there is understanding through communication, such that we've come to understand that you act against each other. This apart from our ancestors' acts against you. Must you permit your own kind to cut you?
Yes, I believe in it because it enriches my spiritual life. I want the cutting so that I can never again fall victim to the pleasures of the body.
Listen, honey. I've been thinking about your intentions and how you want to partake in the rituals of your forefathers. Well, let me explain the world to you. This whole thing was a man's idea so that you won't cheat on him.
Male and female are equal among Dodos.
I have my doubts. Have you ever tried masturbating? I want you to go home tonight. Do you know where the part they'll be cutting is? I want you to play with it. Once you discover the purpose of it, I'm sure you will not permit what's in store for you.
That kind of pleasure is not important to me, and with it, my culture will not survive.
Aren't your leaders men?
My leader is my grandmother. She will lead me to my mate.
You have been so successful and happy here. You're going to give this up? And what about your liaison with my husband?
What about it?
Are you in love with Harry?
I've had an interesting exchange that enables me to go back to them. I may have enjoyed something with him.
That wonderful experience you had with my husband? Well, you won't have it then.
That was from my youth.
He raped you?
There is no rape in my land.
It sounds like every time the Dodos mate, there's a rape.
It's whatever you want to call it. I am one of them. I owe everything to my community. I must go back and be a part of it.
Before I married Harry, my life was very different. I gave up my independence to a man who was faithful, earned money, fulfilled my expectations. And he was that for a time. But he had a brother, and that brother disappeared and became him. Look what happened to me.
I see that you do have more buttons than I'll ever have to do.
Even with my dreams in ruins, I can still seek pleasure.
Everything I do is for the protection of my species. We do what generations of experimentation conclude we must to ensure our survival. And until we met our predators, we thrived.
You can't return to a state of innocence. They all admire you. You're a lecturer. Successful.
I've made out all right.
You certainly have.
It's not like you're sleeping alone.
Tomas, that's called making do. But what they want you to do can never be undone. It's negating the world you're in. It's asking you to live in black and white. Understand, and with that understanding, you've got to enlighten your elders.
How can I bring this back to my tribe? The elders carry the weight of millions of years of history. Am I to tell them?
The change is coming for all dodos. Are you to be a dried and obedient hanger-on to a group? You have to bring them out.
I'm still a kid.
Yet you have done all these things. They'll have to hear you out.
I'll need help.
I'll help you. You won over my husband. Now you've got to win them over. You've got to pierce their ignorant shells and break through. Harry and Tomas have left. Shall we go?
I have given up on efforts to make Harry Zefero a member of my salvation team. Thanks to Marcus Garvey, I returned to Wacky Land on a ship chartered by his Back to Africa organization. And with me, I bring home relief, care packages, and a camera crew to document the Dodo plight. If we work together, we will find that civilization offers us an opportunity for a new nation. And we urge you to understand that to maintain our stability and unity, we circumcise the instruments needed to create that new nation. Farewell, we shall return.
Here in time for leaving here, I leave here every day. So much work, so little time, I see through my dismay. I'm on a roll, the time is lost, the track of time is gone. I've got to find the strength to carry on. So I say, give a life to save a life, another's life is ours. Life becomes another life, whenever this life's ours. I've got to go to get a life.
our guest. Yes, homework. Thank you, Marianne, and thank you, class. Tomorrow we speak about kangaroos and cats and how their proliferation affects life in Australia. Class dismissed.
Well, are you comfortable now? Your understanding of the dodo?
Yeah, I will find a wife, start a family, and after tonight I vow to ignore any future solicitations by query.
Good. Oh, Professor Zefero traveled a long way to be here tonight, and she must have a lot on her mind. I'm gonna invite her out for some coffee. Excuse me, Patrick.
Yeah, you do that. I'll take the long way home.
Good night.
Good night. See you tomorrow. Bright and early. 6 o'clock. See you there.
Excuse me, Professor Zefero, can I take you out for some coffee?
I'm sorry, my flight leaves in 15 minutes.
Well, then can I take you to the airport?
Yes, thank you. That's very kind of you.
Oh. Hello, Dodo. You are so beautiful. I would very much like to enter your womb.
I'm sorry, sir. I say no.
And stand back as I enter your egg! Every time I look at you, I feel so happy, feel so good. Every time I look at you, I say, out and about they go, out and about they go, out and about like a shadow without a doubt. Hold me, come save me, enfold me, and take me, oh save me, come take me. Stand outside and wake me with bok choy when a man goes a-birding, bok choy when his muscles are hurting. You're here, so he's spurting. Other birds find it disconcerting. You call when it's my masturbation. You sigh at a deep masturbation. You each from a fetus take your place in the space between us. You call for a new demonstration. You cause for an emasculation. You're giving me hope. You're giving me love. You're giving me joy. You're giving for a piece of bok choy. You're giving for a piece of bok choy.
You cry at a crass contemplation. We're each from a fetus, taking place in the space between us. You cause for a new demonstration. Your cause for an emasculation. You're giving me hope. You're giving me love. You're giving me joy. You're giving for a piece of bok choy. You're giving for a piece of bok choy.
You came in with no doubt about you. You shame me till I shout without you. You know me, you know others like me. It's lonely, but it clears the psyche. You give me love, you give me joy, you give me pain. You run the street, you know my work is not complete until I get to the beat of bok choy. It's a new close relation. Bok choy is a new dispensation. You're boy, I boredom, they're fun, but you can't afford them. These laws coming at your bok choy, your cause. Oh, what I can prove, you're giving me hope. You're giving me
go.